Generation Z people especially. Every time the socialists have come into power, and you better talk to your older brothers and sisters, the millennial idiots out there, okay? If you're born after 1997, you're Generation Z. Right? So some of you can go, all right? I'm not one of these millennials like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the 29-year-old now, advocating for this. Look, Bernie Sanders, Ocasio-Cortez, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, on down the list. All of them are now on board with Bernie Sanders' Democratic Socialism campaign. First of all, it's so easy to get young people to buy into socialism, just like the Venezuelan young people did when Chavez first came to power, because, listen carefully, you've grown up under socialism from the time you were 0 to 18. Think about what mom and dad are. Mom and dad are the imperial dictators, right? Mom and dad decide what you're going to eat, how much, the food, clothing, shelter, all provided, all the security for food, clothing, shelter come from mom and dad, correct? Right? Right? So mom and dad, right? You live under a socialist economy where mom and dad, you don't have to work, you don't do anything. Mom and dad provide everything you need, but watch this. In exchange for that food, clothing, shelter, mom and dad set the rules, don't they? Right? How many of you heard? As long as you live under this roof, I've even said it. I couldn't believe it the first time I said it. This is what my dad used to say. Boy, as long as you... What is this? All right? So mom and dad set the rules, but they provide you with security, economic security. And so when you leave that, having spent 18 years under stuff coming to you for free, some 29-year-old idiot from the Bronx starts running for office promising to extend mommy and daddy into the future with, hey, how would you like free health care for the rest of your life? Well, that sounds like what you had when you were a little girl, doesn't it? Yeah, doesn't it? How would you like to have a guarantee of a job and a guaranteed income that will help you live for the rest of your life? Government promises you will have a job. Doesn't that sound like something mommy and daddy used to extend to you? And on down the list we go. So you don't go to people in my age demographic or people in their 30s or late 50s or 60s and promise this stuff, because we're the ones that have been in the real world long enough. We run businesses, we pay taxes, we haven't had mommy and daddy take care of us forever. We understand what it means to take care of yourself. And so you don't start with people my age and start promising free stuff. You go to the young people who haven't created anything yet, don't have any businesses, haven't had to make a lot of money, don't pay a lot of taxes, who believe, a few years ago they believed in Santa Claus. Might still believe in it. Still go trick-or-treating for God's sake. Free stuff, right? So it's easy for politicians to go after the young and promise amazing free things. When Chavez first came to office, Chavez didn't say, if you pick me 20 years from now, you're not going to have any water, you're not going to need electricity, you're not going to need food, you're not going to need medicine. He didn't say that. He said he wanted to make things more fair. He wanted to take from the people who had too much property and too much money and distribute it in a more fair way to Venezuela's poor. He wanted to prevent the gouging and the ripoff of the capitalists who run businesses and help poor people be able to afford things. This is always the promise of socialism. Because they can't come in and tell you the truth. They can't say, in the Soviet Union they promised this, 75 years later, and 62 million dead people, the Soviet Union was gone. They don't say, hey, in Cuba we came in promising this stuff, and now all the starvation leaves the people on rafts. They don't say, in North Korea, 5 million out of the 22 million population are in prison. Political dissenters, 5 million out of 22 million people in North Korea are locked away. They don't want to say this because watch. Capitalism, in the short run, appears to be insensitive and brutal, but it is so beautiful in the long run. Socialism appears to be so beautiful in the short run, but is brutal in the long run. Watch how this works. So you have a capitalist economics professor. So a capitalist to you would say, look, man, you got to fix yourself. Number one, buy a mirror. Start there every day, and if you're having anything good going on or bad, the mirror will tell you why, right? You've got to study hard, you've got to pick the right major, you've got to save, you've got to deny yourself to make sure that you're progressing, you've got to work and get promotions and be an entrepreneur. It is on you to fix yourself. There's no participation trophy when you're 35. Thanks for showing up. You were the worst worker in the company, but we're going to give you the same raise as everybody else. That doesn't work. So in the short run, there's a lot of pain and frustration that you have to battle through. And in the long run, if you do capitalism right, you sit there staunchly middle class, upper middle class, you are doing well because you have figured out how markets work. But it's tough in the short run. And that's where politicians have their opening. Because do people want immediate relief and benefits or long-run relief and benefits? Immediate, right? So socialism comes in and says, if you vote for me, you won't have to worry about any of this stuff anymore. Guaranteed job, guaranteed health care benefits, guaranteed $15 now. We're going to guarantee free everything, free tuition for your kids from now. This is what they've all promised. So we're going to ease your pain now. And young people go, wow, free, 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 free. No work, no effort, no nothing. And then 20 years from now, you're sitting there watching your kids die and starve to death. And you have every reason to say, wait a minute, this isn't what they said was going to happen. Now, I hate to pick on you, but you were just watching your watch, right? Admit it. Don't do that. Look, you've got to care enough about people you don't know to understand this stuff's coming here too. What are you going to do? Move to Hong Kong? They ain't got enough room, okay? Apathy and clock watching doesn't work in the face of this country becoming that, okay? Show some respect. So you guys have got to start paying closer attention to the beautiful and seductive offerings of these socialists promising you utopia. Because every place in the history of the world that's ever tried it, the people have ended up starving and dying over time. And look, and let's be clear about something, okay? Let me just go ahead and say it. The chances that the United States of America is going to celebrate its 500th birthday on July 4th, 376, whatever it would be, come on. If you want to read the book I have in my office, the average place that becomes the biggest economy and biggest military in the world has, all of them usually die at about 250 years. One has made it to 265. We're at 240-something. For you to think that on July the 4th, 2076, we're going to celebrate our 300th anniversary with no chance whatsoever of socialism having arrived in this country, of another world war, somebody else thinking now's the time, and we're going to make it to our that America's going to be 1,000 years old someday? You're out of your mind. History is not on our side. It's not. Here's my question for you. Do you want to be alive and around when this stuff starts to happen? I don't. I'll probably be dead or dadgum near it. If it's going to happen, if socialism's going to get here, I'll probably be dead when it all hits the fan. But I've got kids. Care about them. I've got students. When I think about you guys being 19, and I picture when you're 45 and you're sitting there going, I wish I would have listened. I wish I'd have talked to people more 25 years ago. You got to start talking to people now about things that matter. Use Instagram for things that matter. Put away the childish bullcrap. Everybody knows what you look like. The selfies need to stop. They're nauseatingly stupid. Start doing things that matter. That way, if it happens, you'll be able to tell your kids, it wasn't my fault. I did everything I could. I talked to everybody who would listen. I talked to you. This is not my fault. Revolutions take place not in the streets with guns. They take place in voting booths. People of Venezuela voted for this. Understand? Chavez didn't show up with tanks. He won an election. Legally. Do you understand? Okay. I'm done preaching. I'll go home and rest tonight knowing you've been warned. All right. Let's flip the script now. Let's come back to the United States of America and show you one of the great socialist ideas. Next, heading your notes, the economics of the minimum wage. Oh, I've been looking forward to doing this one. The economics of the minimum wage.
Question, Chairman, I have a question.
Yeah.
So for this whole like organ thing though, could the government legally say like you're not allowed to pay somebody? Because like
That's what they do now.
I know like direct donations though, that's like a thing. So like you could actually like give somebody a wealthy like a check or something just for direct donating their organ to you.
Oh, so do it a different way. I'll
Yeah.
give you. Yeah, that's still illegal to do that. By the way, I do have some good news. A few years ago, the government did legalize the buying and selling of bone marrow. There was a lady, I can't remember what the name of the disease is, but she had 3 kids with this awful condition where they needed bone marrow transplants. And that lady single-handedly lobbied Congress until they legalized the buying and selling of bone marrow, and now her kids have a chance to live. So that's one person fighting. All right. Here we go. You need 2 diagrams in your notes, side by side. First, a little bit of background story before we lead into differences between 2 places. Under the first diagram, it should be labeled Williston, North Dakota. Second diagram should be Detroit, Michigan. Williston, W-I-L-L-I-S-T-O-N, comma, N-D. Williston, North Dakota. Second one, Detroit, Michigan. In 2014, I was on my way home from an extended camping vacation with my family out west, and we were driving across northern Montana. We were about to cross a 200-mile Indian reservation, and I was wondering about gas stations there. So even though I had about 3/4 of a tank of gas, I told my family, I said, we need to pull over and get gas. So we pull over, and I'm pumping the gas, and here I walk in and pay, and I hear my wife over to the side saying, "Oh, he's so cute." I didn't think she was talking about me. Those days, way back. All right, so, okay, whatever. And I go in, and I walk outside, and my wife is standing there next to my oldest son, who in both arms is holding a golden retriever puppy. All of you are probably familiar. This is what happens when you're a dad. You've seen your dads do this. What's going on here? Right? Have you ever seen that? So what's going on here? And you've also seen when nobody answers the question, that means there's a conspiracy against the dad that the whole family is in on. Have you been there too? Right? So I said, so what's going on here? And nobody said anything. And then I went into full-blown, loud cost-benefit analysis. Wait a minute! Are you out of your mind? We are in Montana. We live in Florida. That's a puppy. And I started going through all of the costs. All of them, right? So my youngest son, because my wife is freaking out and being all emotional, the worst thing to be, he tells my oldest son, take the dog away so Mom can think. Mom grabs the little puppy, sits in the vehicle, like a 4-year-old. And I'm in the car going, Sarah, listen to me. And finally she says, just start driving and we'll figure it out as we go. This is Jake. Yes, he's so cute. Jake is according to all of my children, Jake is my favorite child. Jake and I both know that Jake is my dog. Okay? Whatever happened at that gas station that day, Jake's mine. The last Super Bowl, one of my son's idiot friends was watching the Super Bowl in my game room, and Jake came over to say hi, and he kind of nudged him, kind of pushed him away. I mean, I wanted to cave this kid's head in. Just boom! Don't you ever touch my dog again. So, yeah, he's the only one that greets me at the door anymore. Jake is awesome. All right, so here we go. So we start driving with little puppy Jake, and I said, okay, but first, he looks like he's starving. Okay. where's the next place we can get food? And she's looking at her little iPad, right? That big one's an iPad, right? It's an iPad. And she says, well, there's a Walmart in Williston, North Dakota. I said, what did you say? She said, well, the next town we're going into is Williston, North Dakota. I said, you're kidding me. I said, okay, we get to Walmart. I'm going to be gone for a while because I got some work to do. And we're going to be in Williston for a little bit longer than expected because I got some work to do. So she goes in and buys $9 billion worth of food and toys for this dog, right? And I'm talking with people, what have you, and we get to the checkout counter. There's this young guy, I'm guessing he's about 20 years old, and from his accent, maybe Nigerian or Kenyan. And I said to this kid, excuse me, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but how much do you get paid here to work at Walmart? And he said, well, I make $17 an hour, but if I was willing to work at night, they pay $19.10 an hour. This is 2014, just bagging groceries. Thank you very much. We go down to Hardee's, and there was a young lady there with an obvious Russian accent. I said, excuse me, I don't mean to be rude. $15 an hour, making sandwiches at Hardee's. And here's what's amazing. The government did not have to force Walmart to pay this kid $17. There was no law written by man or woman saying, you must pay $17. There were two other laws that created $17 at Walmart in Williston, North Dakota. What were the laws? Law of supply and the law of demand. Okay? So let's take a look. So we're going to put wage on the vertical axis and quantity for Williston, North Dakota, and over here will be Detroit. For those of you that don't know anything about Williston, North Dakota, you actually do every time you buy gas. Williston, North Dakota sits near the epicenter of what is known as the Bakken oil field. Okay? Now, geologists have known forever that oil in massive quantities was under the ground in northern North Dakota. But way back in the day, it was too expensive to get it out because of the very thick rock formations immediately under the ground. But a new technology called fracking, I know all of you have heard of it, okay? It's actually called hydraulic fracturing, okay? So they now have the technology where they drill through this dense rock formation and then inject water at very high pressure into those rocks to fracture the rock and allow the oil to come up closer to the surface so they can get it out of the ground at a lower cost. Now, when you hear this, now look, many environmentalists, when they hear this, go, this is terrible. Look, my home state of Oklahoma has recently passed California as having the most earthquakes of any state in America now. The fracking going on out there, boom, is causing earthquakes. Here's what the Oklahomans do. They shake for a minute, and then they go out and make $35 an hour in the oil fields. They don't care about the earthquakes. They can afford new dishes, okay? So, fracking, $2.55 a gallon. No fracking, $5 a gallon, which is where we were headed before the fracking started. Gasoline prices were $4 a gallon in 2008, and then the fracking boom began. Out in West Texas, for those of you that read, how many of you have gotten the Wall Street Journal now? How many of you subscribe? In the Wall Street Journal, you saw about a week ago, they had a huge section on the future of jobs and pay. Barbers in West Texas make $108,000 a year. I was sharing this with my kids the other day. $108,000 a year, because the fracking boom out in West Texas has led to such a rush of people getting there, and they need haircuts, that now the few barbers that have moved out there right now, they're making $108,000 a year cutting hair. Okay? So, this fracking boom led to an explosion of industry in Williston. And all these oil field workers moving to Williston, they need to eat, they need cars. When you go to Williston, North Dakota, everything's brand new. Brand new car dealerships, brand new hotels, brand new Hardee's, brand new Walmart, brand new everything. Because this thing sprung out of the ground almost overnight. So watch this. There's now this huge demand. The farther away you get from the origin, the bigger demand is. Huge demand for workers in Williston, North Dakota. But it's northern North Dakota. Not a lot of people want to live there. It snows 400 days out of the year. It's like the Arctic Circle, okay? On your way to work, you run over polar bears. All right, so watch this. So with a very small supply of workers, here we go. If Walmart, let's say Walmart pays, let's say back in 2014, Walmart was paying $10 an hour in Orlando. Orlando is a slightly more desirable place to live to most people than North Dakota, okay? So let's suppose Walmart, when it built its Walmart in North Dakota, decided to pay the same in North Dakota as they were paying in Orlando. So they offer people from Nigeria or New York City or wherever $10 an hour. What is going to be the response of people to $10 an hour to move to northern North Dakota and work there? What are they going to say? No, it's very cold. I don't want to live there in the permafrost for $10 an hour. So Walmart, so Adam Smith lands on the CEO's shoulder of Walmart and says, keep going. So the CEO says, how about 11? Still cold. How about 12? No, my fingers might be numb. I can't even feel the money. How about 13? Starting to look for my jacket. 14? Well, I found my jacket. 15? Well, I zipped it up. 16? I'm checking on my car. 17? I'll be there tomorrow. No government. No federal minimum wage. Just the invisible hand. So in North Dakota, you got to pay $17 an hour because of the laws of supply and demand, not because of some government law. Detroit. Detroit is a very poor area, much lower demand for goods and services, therefore a lower demand for workers, larger population, bigger supply of available unskilled labor. Let's suppose to work in Walmart, if left alone, let's suppose you'd make $6.80 an hour to work at Walmart in Detroit. Well, politicians don't think this is fair. They think this exploits people. So the Ocasio-Cortez crowd is now pushing for a minimum wage of $15 an hour. A few years ago, Seattle, Washington became the first city to implement a $15 an hour minimum wage. Let's go visit Seattle, shall we? Here we go.